They say nothing shakes the racing world like whispers of change from the top, and that's exactly what's making waves in the Formula One paddock this week. Red Bull Racing, a team known for its strong grip on the sport in recent seasons, is suddenly at the center of some serious backstage buzz. Now, before anything else, ask yourself this. When a team that's been winning starts slipping, who's the first to feel the heat? You guessed it, the person in charge. And right now, all eyes are on Christian Horner. Multiple sources, including names like Planet F1 and Formula Passion, have been reporting that Red Bull's leadership, particularly the Thai stakeholders, are no longer convinced Horner is the man for the future. And they've got their reasons. Let's break it down. First, the team's on-track performance has noticeably dipped. Second, there's growing concern that Max Verstappen, the face of Red Bull's success, might not stick around. And third, there are lingering issues tied directly to Horner's leadership and past controversies. For a long time, Horner's role seemed unshakable. Red Bull's winning record kept the critics quiet. But with results going the wrong way and Verstappen openly voicing doubts about the team's direction, things aren't so certain anymore. Behind the scenes, there's been a shakeup. A quiet but serious evaluation of the team's leadership has reportedly begun. Just last week, some reports even floated the possibility of Otmar Schaffnauer taking over, though those rumors were quickly denied. Interestingly, the name was first misreported as Oliver Wakes. That was quickly corrected. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Another potential successor is now being discussed. And this one's got real credibility. Franz Tost. The former AlphaTauri boss knows Red Bull inside out. It's been part of their setup for years and is deeply respected across the F1 paddock. What's more, he's familiar with both the Austrian and Thai executives running Red Bull. Behind the scenes, and let's not forget, he and Horner haven't always seen eye to eye. In fact, Tost left AlphaTauri following tension with Horner himself. That makes his possible return as Red Bull's head a fascinating twist. Would Tost really be the one to step in if Horner steps out? Talks have reportedly already started in Austria. Tost's reputation for structure, discipline, straight-talking, plus his long history with Red Bull. He could be the one they turn to if it's time for a change. If Red Bull does decide to make a leadership change, it wouldn't just be a staff reshuffle. It could mark a major shift in the team's overall direction, especially with Max Verstappen's future hanging in the balance. Any decision from the top could set off a ripple effect across the entire Formula One landscape. Let's not forget, the competition isn't standing still. McLaren and Ferrari are catching up fast. Red Bull, once dominant, is suddenly under pressure to respond quickly and effectively. The stakes? They're higher than they've been in years. Every point matters. Every call from management could affect the championship. The timing of this possible reshuffle is no accident. Behind the pit walls, discussions are happening at the highest levels. Red Bull's leadership knows that. If Verstappen begins to seriously consider leaving, the balance of power in Formula One could shift overnight. The fear isn't just about losing a fast driver, it's about losing the driver, who defines the current era of racing, and that brings us back to Franz Tost. His name isn't coming up randomly. Tost is known for handling pressure well and getting the best out of young drivers. He's also trusted by Red Bull's decision-makers. He speaks their language, understands their culture, and perhaps most crucially, doesn't shy away from tough decisions. Formula Passion recently reported that meetings have already taken place in Austria, discussing the possibility of Tost stepping into Horner's role. Nothing is official yet, but the very fact that such talks are happening speaks volumes. You don't begin replacement talks unless there's serious doubt at the top. The idea of bringing in Tost may not be just about management style, it could also be a strategic move to steady the ship. His approach is known to be structured, calm, and focused on long-term gains. At a time when Red Bull is trying to convince Verstappen to stay, having someone like Tost at the wheel might send the right message. Stability, accountability, and renewed direction. Fans and insiders alike are starting to wonder if this leadership shift does happen. Could it actually help Red Bull hold on to their biggest asset? Because let's face it, once a driver like Verstappen starts thinking of leaving, the clock starts ticking now. Imagine the impact if Red Bull really goes ahead with this change. It's not just about one team switching leaders. It could reshape the entire landscape of Formula 1. We're talking about one of the most dominant teams in recent history possibly heading into a new chapter. With uncertainty surrounding both leadership and its star driver, Max Verstappen. For all his loyalty and commitment so far, has been clear about one thing. He wants to win. He's not interested in rebuilding years or internal struggles. If he feels the momentum shifting away from championship contention, he won't hesitate to consider other options. And those options? They're already forming. Mercedes is watching closely. Aston Martin is building big, investing in their future with high-profile names and top-tier engineers. These teams know that if Max becomes available, the entire grid changes. His presence can reshape a car's development plan, attract new sponsors, and change how a team is viewed in the paddock. Now back to Red Bull's internal situation. The biggest concern isn't just the speculation, it's the timing. All of this is happening just as Red Bull is facing pressure on track. Their lead is shrinking. Their rivals are smarter, faster, and better prepared. Even small missteps now could cost them in the long run. This is where leadership matters the most. If Christian Horner is truly on thin ice, the team needs to handle the transition smoothly. Any cracks in leadership during such a critical phase could shake the entire garage. That's why Franz Tost, someone familiar with Red Bull's structure and expectations, becomes an even more practical candidate. Tost isn't a flashy name, but he's reliable. He knows how to work with young talents, maintain discipline, and avoid unnecessary media drama, all qualities Red Bull might be craving right now. Especially if the aim is to refocus and hold on to Verstappen before rival teams make their moves. Red Bull can't afford to look divided or confused, not now. This is a moment where clarity, calm, decision-making, and strategic vision will matter more than ever. That's exactly why these high-level talks in Austria are getting attention across the F1 world. If the leadership shift does happen, and Franz Tost takes charge, it could send a clear signal Red Bull is ready to reset and respond. But there's one big question still hanging in the air. Will it be enough to keep Max Verstappen committed to the team long-term? From what insiders are saying, Verstappen is watching everything: performance, strategy, and leadership decisions. He's not going to make a rash move, but he's also not one to stay quiet if things don't align with his ambition. That puts even more pressure on Red Bull's next few races, especially if the rumored upgrades don't bring immediate results. Tost's entry, if it becomes reality, might help bring back order and focus. His no-nonsense approach and experience could help calm the internal noise and redirect attention back to winning. But Red Bull's success won't rest on one man. It'll depend on how the entire team responds, from engineers and strategists to drivers and executives. Meanwhile, rival teams are getting ready. They know Verstappen's decision could shake up everything. Mercedes, Aston Martin, and even Ferrari are keeping tabs, adjusting their own plans based on how the Red Bull story unfolds. In the fast world of Formula One, even a hint of change can set off a chain reaction, shifting contracts, budgets, and entire team directions. One thing is certain: this isn't just about one headline or one race weekend. Red Bull is standing at a crossroad. Whether they double down on their current path or take a new direction with someone like Franz Tost at the front, their next move will have a lasting impact. So now we ask you, do you think Franz Tost would be the steady hand Red Bull needs right now? Or is it already too late to stop the shakeup that's coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want the latest developments as they happen, from the pit lane to the boardroom, make sure you're following us closely. Because in Formula One, the story never stops.